Are elections even real? Everybody knows what is going on in the world, and the people with the money who are in charge of the world are afraid of losing control. So the question will be, how can they retain their control to push their narrative and agenda? And what correlation is there to the 40 elections across the whole world in 2024? I did not want to believe this, but you have to follow this logical thought experiment, and please prove me wrong. There are two relevant governmental forms, capitalism and communism. Most people, especially the Western world, live in a capitalistic society. Your success is measured by the value you provide for society. Your input equals your output. Basically, there are no limitations. In communism, the premise, whether it works or not, is that everyone is and owns the same. The government controls everything. How? Via surveillance. If you refuse to work or to obey the rules, you will be threatened with law enforcement and eventually jail. So ultimately, society is running on fear that keeps communism working. I like to argue that we live under surveillance capitalism, and you probably think that is not true. You would argue, I am still able to do whatever I want, or I can go wherever I want. Can you? Most people are now fighting with their existence while inflation is outpacing their wages in real time. So now, you have to look at the big data companies and how they make money with your data. They watch everything you do on those free social media applications and eventually alter how you act in order for you to be profitable to them. Not only that, they own and control the media. If they know everything about you and you do not comply with their narrative or agenda, you will be punished eventually. Basically, like in communism, your motivator to obey the rules is fear. So what happens in 2024? People act on two simple impulses. It is self-interest or fear. The majority have woken up and do not buy into the government's agenda and psyop no more, so the only thing they can control us is via fear. So how can the people that are in charge of the world retain their power and be able to use fear to control all of us? Has this happened before? The prime example was in 2019 when COVID appeared. It would not have worked when only a couple of countries followed the strict rules of COVID and the lockdowns. So the mass media purported only one side, pushed vaccines and censored every other opposition who were against their narrative. Emotional-based arguments were a big factor of the media to instill fear upon society. If you extrapolate this thought experiment, it is just logical for the media and the people in charge to empower women and feminism for them to be in charge of the household, because it is in their nature to more likely act on emotional impulses. So you now have the media using emotional lead arguments to instill fear in your household and eventually upon the whole population to purport what they call safety and security. They are basically lying by omission. So once again, you have all these elections going on at the same time across the whole world like COVID was, and it will be an opportunity and a power grab for the people who make the rules to create some sort of catastrophic event to then use the mass media to offer a solution, supposedly for safety reasons, for you to blindly comply out of fear, and everyone who speaks against it will be censored or banned.